real-life salvage sword. 30,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. To mark such a monumentous occasion, we decided there's only one fitting thing: crafting a salvage sword. The first step in crafting this crude weapon is of course the iconic spanner handle, or as you Yanks might say, wrench. You will obviously also need a blade, which is fashioned from nice steel, and some shorter pieces for the crossguard. Now begins the tedious task of hacking off the spanner's end. The problem with crafting video game weapons is that you often have to sacrifice functionality to keep authenticity. Using the spanner for a handle creates a weaker joint, but we wanted to replicate it as close as we possibly could. Eventually, we managed to completely cut through. As you can see, it's a rather nice fit and lots of room for binding. The next step was to give it that salvage look. Before we could do that, we had to do a little bit of polishing. Would you look at all that rust? Pardon the pun. And would you look at that? We'll be able to apply decals to this with no problem at all. As soon as we finish the rest of it, of course. Having almost completely de-rusted one side, the difference is startling, as you can see. Look at all that nasty grime. Ugh. Much better. I can honestly say I don't think the spanner left the shop looking this good. And now let's make it look shitty in Salvage. The first thing we did is apply some random, slightly darker silver paint, giving it that blotched effect. Next, we applied some black stainer. This we will slowly sand away to give it even more of an aged look. Hopefully this will be a better representation of the in-game salvage sword. Next, it was time to add some adhesive for the binding. The first layer of binding has been applied, making the handle feel fatter and easier to grip, as demonstrated here. After the second layer of binding was applied, we burnt it to give it far more of a badass look. And of course we had a blowtorch, which we had to use. What a surprise, it's caught fire! Better stick my hand on it. Ouch. Much blood, sweat and burns later, we had accomplished the look we were trying to achieve. And god damn does it look rustic. And it's time for the handguard. Oh joy, more cutting through metal with hand tools. Some time later, and we had got through the bitch. Unfortunately, this was only the first of 4 cuts. Joy. Oh, finally. And here are 2 of the 4 parts of the crossguard, quickly demonstrating how they're going to sit against the handle. Oh, that'll do, you get the picture. And now comes the time to adhere them together. Now this stuff was sticky. There we go, nicely done. Now it is the time to compress it and then leave it to dry. Meanwhile, we set fire to our piece of metal to give it that burnt look. There she is, nice and hot. This will blacken the surface and give it a real salvage look. Plus, we just like burning things. Don't think I'll be putting this one out with my hand though. Here's a nice shot of some books and a pair of legs. You can also see the metal has blackened well. And now to cut through. Sawing through this one was about 10 times harder than anything else we'd had to do. Fortunately, you have the power of editing, so look how quick that was, crikey. And now just to bend it down because I am a lazy bastard. Regardless, it's meant to look salvaged, isn't it? Isn't it? Took a tad longer than expected, so here, have another cut. Ta-da! Nice. Here we see a very basic demonstration of how the final product might look. We might even make it pointy. Ignore the hand, right? I'm nothing but a man of my word. Looks pretty pointy, doesn't it? Finished! Oh wait, no, much to go, much to go. This is a very rough initial shape of the end of our sword. And now begins the grinding. Lots and lots of grinding. Now, the steel was so thick that grinding it took an immense amount of time. However, we didn't have a forge at hand, so this is what we had to do. Ooh, pretty. Oh, some more grinding, very nice, very nice. However, the hard work was paying off, and as you can see, it's starting to look rather sexy. Just look at the shine. Now, the length of the sword was much more easy to do, because obviously it's a straight line. However, the gentle curvature of the point of this blade proved far more troublesome. However, perseverance and fine ale saw us through. You beauty. We stuck it in the fire again because it was beginning to look too nice. Oh, and we had some more wood to burn. We adore the textures that burning flame and cold water create within the metal. This is a fine example of the beautiful patterns that the quenching created. Very much gives it that salvaged look. After another few hours of grinding, we were getting dangerously close to having a finished edge. But alas, it was back to the grindstone to make it nice and sharp. Grinding really did take the most amount of time in this entire project. Would you look at how close his thumb gets to that spinning wheel of death? Extraordinary. The blade is getting alarmingly close to being finished now. However, there was still some fine tuning to do. You know what that means, folks? More hand tools. Employing the use of a hand file to sharpen the blade, we waited patiently for our bench grinder to cool down. Now, a lot of you internationals wouldn't have picked up on this because it doesn't matter for you. But look how sunny it is in England, hoorah! That's our 2 days of sun for the year. After the motor had cooled, we began applying the final touches to the blade, and look how mighty she is looking. And again we see the dangerous thumb. This chap lives life on the edge. Literally. But would you just look at the results? Next, we are demonstrating how the handguard assembly shall work. Intend to reinforce the guard with these two cut-off pieces of steel bar and then bolt through later, which will be covered by binding. This will add the weight and the look that we are trying to achieve. By the way, yes, we set fire to the handguard too. Here we see far more accurate final representations of our end product. After welding the handle to the handguard, we applied adhesive and binding tape, and then proceeded to leave it overnight. The final task was to add some pretty wrapping on the handguard. And there you have it, folks, our completed salvage sword. Glorious would be an accurate description, I believe. Marvel in its glory, stuck in the floor for no apparent reason. Oh look, I'm holding it, in one of my many suits of course. It's a very, very heavy weapon, but damn would you not want to get hit by this thing. Very carefully I slice off my fingers. It is paramount to hold the sword in the safest manner, which is of course around the blade. Little did I know I was being stalked by a beast in the shrubbery. Golden-haired and sharp of tooth, answers to the name Fluffy. And here it is in all its glory. We believe we have held true to the original in-game salvage sword, and of course another advantage is, it's actually able to cut shit. If you guys are interested, we'll create a video in which we stab melons, various fruits, and maybe even Walter. What? Calm down, Walter, please. This is what the subs want. Bully. Good chap. And now you can see the detail we've added to the actual blade itself. However, you won't be able to see it for very long, because my bastard camera ran out of memory. I hope all you chaps enjoyed this. A little bit of a different video. And thank you again for 30,000 subscribers. There you are, salvage sword crafted. We would like to say a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, Barons, Beef Stew 12 and D. Wet Steinberg, Viscounts, Andreas Bjorn Hansen, Sedge and Dan, and Mediocre Jim, Earls, Donny Escobedo, David Jacobson, Marquis, Jarek Azevedo, and finally, Duke Paulie Joe Keller. Thank you very much. Your support truly does mean the world to us. See you next time. Tally ho.